And we're back here at Boom& Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Howard Levitt, senior partner at Levitt, Sheikh employment law firm. Howard, just want to expand it out. We were talking about quiet quitting for the last two segments. Obviously, this is, as you had said earlier, this is connected to the work from home phenomenon. So tell us a little bit about that other battle about getting people back into the office. Let's drill down a little bit on that.
Well, it's a legal battle, and of course, it's a marketplace battle. Employers want, in many cases, people to come back to the office because, frankly, most of the statistics show it's more productive if you're working in the office than at home. People working from home actually, the stats show, work a little bit longer, but not as productive per hour. Overall, the balance is in favor of working in the office. So employers are saying, and my clients are saying, I want my people back in the office. I want a team again. I want orientation and training. I want the exchange of ideas, and I want more productive work. And employers are saying, no, 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 I want to stay at home. And there's a risk for employers if you order them back, they'll quit and really quit, not just quietly quit.
Right.
So the question is, what's the law? The law is an employer has the right to require people to come back to the office, and if they say no, they've resigned, and that's the end of their employment with cause. But here's the trick. If they let this go on much longer, the employee can say, you could have called me back to the office, Mr. Employer, Mrs. Employer, a year ago. You didn't. I assumed working from home would become a fundamental term of my employment contract.
Mm.
And that tipping point is about now. Employers should better understand if they don't order them back now, they're going to lose the right to. And then employees can say, it's a term of my employment to work from home. I've been doing it now for 4 years, and it's a constructive dismissal if you make me. And therefore, it's as if you fired them. So that's a decision employers have to make. The only solution is for the employer who's not ready to call them back, but wants the right to in the future, is to have them sign contracts giving the employer the right to call them back at any time in the future on X months' notice.
Right. And are you seeing that now in employment law, that kind of contract?
Well, my clients are doing it because I'm telling them to do it. So yes,
Okay.
so I'm saying it, yes. And employers are facing the conundrum of calling people back, but they have a right to call them back. It was always supposed to be temporary.
Yes, and so in order to collect on those rights, you kind of use it or lose it. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Now, the interesting thing about this is, and you referenced public sector employees earlier in our conversation, and I noted that there's another round of collective bargaining going on with the federal public service. And one of the things that they are trying to write into the next collective agreement is the right to work from home. So that's an interesting phenomenon. And it also means that there could be yet another differentiation. If they earn that right through collective bargaining, then public service is very different from the private sector employment space. So please comment on that.
Tony, one day there's going to be rebellion. I don't know why it hasn't already happened. We are using our tax dollars to pay people more than we're making ourselves. Not every person, but generally speaking. And their jobs are secure. There's no layoffs, and they have one benefit after another, this being merely another one. And at some point, employees are going to say, who are subject to layoff, are being laid off in recessionary times when all the public servants are keeping their jobs and making more than these people ever did for exactly the same functions. Enough's enough. And it's going to be a real issue where they're going to be lobbying the government extensively to take tougher positions at the bargaining table. Because if you're an employer and you have a little factory and you're unionized, the union knows if they push too hard, you'll go bankrupt and all their members will lose their jobs, and that'll be the end of that. So there's no market discipline in the federal public sector or the provincial public sector or any public sector. They could push and they push, and the politicians, their interest is not having a strike in their watch. And if they give too much money, well, the X won't hit the fan for another 5 years, and they'll be long out of office. So they don't really care. And as I say, there's no market discipline. So that's what I see. And it's simply a further differentiation that's going to really antagonize people. And I think that's what Pierre Poilievre is, I'm probably mispronouncing his name, but that's a little bit of what he's getting elected on.
Yeah,
I,
it's bubbling up there for sure. Sorry, I cut you off. Please
I,
continue.
That's what he's getting elected. That's what he got elected on, at least nominated on, and that's why there's so much fury in the land. And a lot of it is our tax dollars being dribbled away unnecessarily. because there's no reason for public servants to earn more than private sector employees for the same jobs.
Right, right. Howard Levitt, we're going to have one more opportunity to discuss this in the next segment. We're going to take a brief break to thank our sponsors, and we'll be back after that. Please stay with us. We will return shortly.